Hello members, this is John Mark. I'm a lecturer at KCE. I teach advanced FL, I teach advanced taxation, I teach advanced MA. Also in section 3, I teach advanced FL, and section 4, I teach quantitative analysis. So in this class, the objective of this class, I want us to have a class on financial reporting. And for the financial reporting, I want to start with covering of published financial statement. This is a nightmare to most of the CASNEP students. Published financial statement. Whenever they hear about published financial statement, actually that's the question that most of the students usually do as the last question. It's usually tested in each and every sitting, either question 1 or question 2. And for you to get this, for you to get the concept on how to answer this, you just need to get just simple concepts. You need to work smart when getting a published, because published is one of the widest area, and it's which of the most of the students usually fail. And they fail why? Because there are some tricks that they need to know, of which in our class I have to show you everything. Have you ever done a question that has balance when published? I assume it's a no. So in my class, I'll show you how to do them and how to balance them. But necessarily, how can you get, most assuming you are doing an exam, so usually out of 20, and most of the, from the analysis, most of the question, when they're doing published question, they usually get between 2 marks to 8 marks. But in some cases, for students who will have to go through this class, I assure you, you'll get more than 15. 15 out of 20, 16 out of 20, or also you can even get 20 out of 20. So in this published, what we'll be covering? So for published, this is what we'll be covering, and published, this is what we'll be covering. That's the published financial statement. And this is regulated by IAS number 1. So now, the good thing with published financial statement, first of all, you have to know the format. After you know the format, but now another thing I have to insist. Now, when you're preparing published financial statement, it's totally different from most. Okay, it's somehow different from how you prepare others. How you prepare financial statement for agriculture, for insurance, also how you prepare for manufacturing. This one is somehow totally different, because in this case, for example, when you're preparing the income statement, we have some things you have to know. Number 1, under the income statement, in this case, we'll be differentiating other incomes. What do we take to other incomes? And what do we take to other comprehensive incomes? If you're not able to differentiate between what we take to other income and what we take to other comprehensive income, for example, assuming the item of other comprehensive income we have indicated under other incomes, for sure you'll not get a mark, because in this case, this is something that's regulated by IAS number 1. Format usually really matters. So that's one thing we'll be covering. Number 1, how to differentiate what do we take to other incomes, what do we take to other comprehensive income. Another thing you have to know that under published financial statement, the expenses are classified under 4 categories. Those are the expenses. One of the major, of which just an operating, number 1, we have the cost of sales. This one you use it to get when you're getting the gross profit. Then we have administrative expenses. Then we have selling and distribution expenses. And lastly, we have the finance cost. Those are the major 4 expenses we'll be showing under published financial statement. Now, let me just define what's a published financial statement. Now, published financial statement is just a condensed and a summarized financial statement ready for publication. So in this case, that means, in this case, you'll not just be showing everything. You'll just show a summary. It's just a summary. In this case, you are showing a summary. So for example, if you're dealing with the cost of sales and you have additional information, you have to do your additional information somewhere else, and then you have to sum up all of them, and you bring one item that's under cost of sale. The same admin expenses, the same as distribution, as well as the finance cost. Now let's go to the balance sheet. When you're going to the balance sheet, when you're preparing the statement of financial position, and the statement of financial position, always remember you always start with the non-current assets. When you're starting with the non-current asset, when you're showing published financial statement, there is something that will change. For example, under non-current asset, we have property, plant, equipment, furniture, fittings. Now, under published, all the item will have to be reduced into one item. What do I mean? Under the non-current asset, PPE, that's plant, property, and equipment, will be shown as a single figure. That means, in this case, if in case you have the plant, You have the furniture. Also, you have the fittings. You have the land. You have the buildings. If you show them separately, you show the value of the plant, the value of the furniture, and automatically that one is something that should not be, you are not given any mark. So in this case, you have to know how. This one, all of them, we have to combine them and show as one item. That's one of the major areas where the students go wrong, because at a published financial statement, they show plant as a single figure, furniture as a single figure, but that's definitely wrong. Another thing you need to know is how to value the ordinary shares. Valuation of ordinary share. How do we value ordinary shares? In this case, we have what we take at par value, and where do we take the share premium? So those are the two major areas you need to you need to specialize. Number one is how to account for PPE, and then the valuation of ordinary shares. For this and more, kindly join us on Mondays. So, and when before we meet for our classes, so kindly make sure you're in possession of our past paper, because I'll be doing not one question, not two questions, not three questions. We're doing a lot of questions, because I want you to be conversant with how to prepare the published financial statement. This is a sure bet. It must be there in your exam. I want you, before you do your jury exams, I want you first of all have the content. I want you to face that exam with confidence.